The definition of leadership is the ability to influence others' behavior. In behavioral science, we define behavior as anything that we say or do. So really, the definition of leadership is the ability to influence what people say and do. So naturally, then if we need to figure out how to be a better leader, we've got to answer this question. How do I influence other people's behavior? How do I influence what other people say and do? Now, I don't have a lot of time today to answer this question, so I'm just going to go right ahead and get to the chase. The way that you influence other people, naked babies. So that handsome young man is actually me when I was 13 months old. And had hair, as Howard points out. Yeah, so first of all, if somebody would have told me that I would be standing up in front of hundreds of people with a naked picture of myself someday that was 12 by 12, I would have said, you are crazy. So you're welcome. And so the first time I saw this picture actually was September 28, 2012, and I know that date because that was the date of my wedding. And so my wife and my mother put together a series of pictures, and they put them up on the screen at my wedding, and it stops on this picture. And my mom picks up the microphone, and she says, this was Richard when he was just 13 months old. And the only two things that he was ever aware of at that age were water and his Wii. Because all he ever did was play with those things. Now, apart from being really, really embarrassed, which I don't even know why I shared this story with you all, because I'm embarrassed again. But it was important, I think, that I share this with you all, because this is kind of what was the inspiration to my talk today, because I think my mom was onto something. My mom was making the point that awareness influences behavior. We're aware of something and behavior follows. So I asked myself at that point, is that the truth? Is that all? Is that it? Is that what influences behavior? This is my airline ticket from just a couple of weeks ago, and on the ticket is the flight time. And so in this case, I'm aware that my flight leaves at a particular time, and I arrive at my gate. Behavior follows awareness. This is a picture of a fuel gauge. The fuel gauge on empty makes me aware that I need to fill gas. So once again, behavior is following awareness. The doorbell goes off at home, and I tell my wife to answer the door reliably. So once again, behavior is consistently following awareness. But what about these? Raise your hand if you know the speed limit on the street that you live on today. Okay, keep your hands up if you have never exceeded the speed limit in your life. Bruce, put your hand down. Yeah, so awareness isn't exactly doing it here, is it? I really love Big Macs, but I'm aware that eating Big Macs as often as I do probably isn't in my best interest. So behavior is not reliably following awareness. I like to drink a little bit, and I'm aware that based on some of my past experiences, saying I'll have one more probably hasn't been the best idea the next morning. 99.99% of your workforce is likely very aware that taking shortcuts at work can lead to injury, but they still do it. So awareness maybe isn't everything. So what else is there? Right now, I like to eat Big Macs, drink beer, speed, and take shortcuts. But long term, I don't want to gain weight. I don't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to get speeding tickets, and I don't want to injure myself at work. So what is it? I think that awareness is part of the equation, but the only way to have a real impact on behavior is to influence the environment. And this is where leadership comes in. We all know, or hopefully some of us know, great leaders. I think what these great leaders have in common is not that they have some magical power or that they possess some magical trait. What they have in common is that they understand that awareness alone is not enough. They understand that leadership requires the ability to influence other people's environments so that maybe they're focusing more on the long term, not on the now, not on the Big Macs, not on the beers. So I thought I'd end today with giving you a couple of ideas, a couple of suggestions on how to create the right environment for ourselves. As leaders, if our goal is to create the right environment for other people, we've got to start with ourselves. And so the first suggestion is to make an awareness list. I had a colleague, as I was sharing this talk with them, I asked everyone here at the BMT Federation, we share our talks all the time, and I thought this was a really good idea. And he said, why don't you just write down everything that you have today that you would like to do less of, and then write down some ideas to get you to do more of it. And of course, this is an awareness thing, but it's the idea of maybe creating the conditions in our own environments to get us to do the things that we need to do more of. Using data, I've heard this a little bit in some of the talks today. Using data doesn't mean having an Excel spreadsheet where we have to track every single behavior throughout the day, but if we're questioning whether or not what we're doing today is the right thing, maybe just getting a little bit of data on that will help us to make the right decisions moving forward. You can also hire a slap coach. If you've got something that you really, really need to get done, I heard reports as an example earlier today, hire a slap coach, sit them down right next to you, and as soon as you step away from that computer, just have them give you a whack across the face. This is an example of creating the right environment, and I assure you this will work.